Alright, welcome back to this time a different series. It is once again Wilver Racing. This time, however, we are not in the GT4 car. No, we are not in the TCR car. We are in the GT3 cars. We're in GT3 Series Season 3. This time we're at Road America. And this time, this is a little bit of a special one. Because we've got, first of all, just had a race here in the TCRs. This time we're in the GT3s, the Porsches.
Good luck, lads.
What makes this very special is the fact that we first have the sprint race and then the feature race afterwards. This is the sprint race we're currently watching. And I can't wait to see where this one's going to go here. We are in the Porsche GT3 992 Cup.
Oh, Makeda.
And that's awesome to see. Next up, we've also got a race that's over an hour here. That is the 1 hour feature race.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Now it's a matter of focusing up on this one. Can't wait to see how this one's going to go, though. It's going to be quite an intense one. Obviously, these cars are a lot faster. The Porsche is quite tricky to handle as well. But I definitely think like we could manage to play our cards right.
Good luck, everybody, and thanks for joining us again.
This time, well, we're not the only drivers not from Australia or New Zealand. Robert Tan is joined over from California, so we've got once again a worldwide grid, I can say.
While you guys are all in here,
Awesome to see you guys are joining in, by the way, for the content. Once again, very much appreciate it. Loving the feedback that I'm getting so far. And, well, if you enjoy the content, make sure you like and subscribe as well. We've got quite a few races coming up. We're participating rather actively. And that's definitely made for some good results so far. It's made for some very good racing, which is pretty awesome. If you guys have any feedback from me or Sven as well, let us know when it's related to the content in any way. We would love to know. So we're doing everything to try and improve it. And, we're doing that thanks to you. I mean, thanks to your feedback, we're able to do so. It's always awesome to see. Now, I hope you guys enjoy your stay here over at the channel. Some videos have really blown up, which is awesome to see. Currently in the Porsche, we're seeing quite a few Porsches out there. Also the other iconic cars that we do have from the GT3 current grid. For example, we've got the McLarens, but also the BMW M4 GT4. We've even got Robert in the Chevrolet, which is a car that you don't get to see very often, which is awesome to see. This time, very curious to see what it's going to be. We see we've got quite a large grid again. I can definitely say that, especially considering the racing here is obviously quite intensive from time to time. And we've got a filled grid. I'm seeing the majority of the GT3 cars that I expect on here. BMWs, Audis, Ferraris, you name it. The diversity obviously is our strength here as well. It's awesome to see so many drivers have their own personality. Obviously some of them have gone all the way out with custom liveries. It's pretty awesome, I should say. Well, we're almost getting there and towards the end here.
They just do a short shoot at the back.
Yeah.
Even backwards, they only start up just before the chase.
I think you can change it in the settings, can't you?
Yeah, you can.
Now we wait it out here. We're almost ready to go.
See to a short parade like there.
Not there yet, but we're definitely getting closer. And obviously,
Same thing.
we've got
So it has been short
50 minutes basically to get this race going. And also to find out who's going to win it. Gotta be honest, I don't know what to expect. This race is a little bit different than the ones I usually do on the channel. Really go anyway. One thing I do know though, it will be awesome and clean racing. We just got off the TCR race, which was awesome as well. Now we're at the same track but in very different cars. So we will know the layout quite well. But how well does that actually translate? I think that's a fascinating question here. We're definitely going to find the answer here eventually. It's just a matter of time, of course. But for now,
I didn't think you were going to break so early.
definitely enjoying the content, I hope, so far.
Yeah, I just got
Not let us know how we can improve on it. And This time the start is relatively clean, at least on our side of the track. You see some drivers lose quite a bit of time in the beginning already here, but if you ignore that, it is all good. And you see we've still got so much more to see and do here. And for me, it's just a matter of making sure that I give you guys all the content that you're asking for. Some of the TCR cars, if you haven't checked that already, the previous channel on the video on the channel. So if you like it, let us know. And make sure you check out that video as well here. And now we are coming in here with quite heavy action. Definitely very different cars to what we normally drive, right? Normally we've done the Formula 4 car, which is very lightweight and less powerful. This one does have quite high downforce, just like the FIA F4 series that we also participate in. There's nothing similar between the TCR and this car. Obviously front versus rear wheel drive. This one's got a lot more power, a lot more downforce. Also is a lot more oversteery, especially if you compare it to the TCR, which is the understeery in itself. And obviously the M4 GT4 is a fixed setup series, unlike this one. And what makes that one particularly interesting as well is that it is kind of the step up, right? You go from GT4 to GT3, at least hopefully. GT4 usually features a lot more gentleman drivers as well, as it's definitely way more affordable. This time the GT3 the car that we're in, we're gonna see quite a bit of action. What makes it so cool to me as well, and that's a lot of people that don't know this, but this is actually where it all started. Not necessarily in iRacing, but on Stella Corsa Competizione. Sven and Jan-Matthijs driving in races together. Now later on, back then I was doing the voiceovers for Jan-Matthijs' channel. He since then has retired and gone to focus on chess, which he finds very fascinating as well. That's a good game as well, but it's very different than sim racing. Well, Sven has stuck around with us here. We're once again in the custom livery, by the way. It's currently Ronald Allen leading this race here. It's quite a heavy grid. Kind of at the back for now here, but we've got similar levels in terms of skill level, at least at the back here. Drivers like Jamie Jarrett, we have seen in previous races, they are pretty fast, and definitely compete with the other drivers here. A little bit sketchier from the driver ahead of us here. It's Harley Earnshaw. Now, last time, actually, I probably shouldn't spoil it, but that was quite intense between us two earlier on. Now we're once again facing off here. This time, obviously, putting in quite a few more laps. It's just going to save us about 10 seconds per lap, it almost feels like. The difference is immense, but you got to keep in mind as well, this track is very long. It's about 6.5 kilometers. Usually, you'll see tracks that are around 4 to 5, maybe. So it is definitely an exceptionally large one, which is interesting to see. And after this, of course, we're doing a 1-hour feature race as well, which is going to be really fun, I think. We'll see how it goes. Once again, hit those downshifts as well as we can here. The driver ahead of us has gone a little bit too wide here, so now we're gaining on him. Ever so slightly here. This very narrow American circuit, of course. Just decide to be patient here. Obviously, this time you got to be a lot more aggressive on the brakes. You got to be a little bit more aggressive on the steering as well. They can handle it as well, but you still got to be gentle at the same time as well, because if you go on a throttle too early, you've got your TC set to low, you're in trouble. Now, obviously, this is not like the Porsche Cup car where there's no TC at all. These do have it, but they are still quite difficult to race. And there's almost a contact here. We just managed to avoid it here. We were a little bit lacking on the brake, or maybe he was a little bit early. Who's that to say? We'll make it through, and Harley's just glad that he can keep it going. But now we've definitely reached that point where there's quite a big variety out there in terms of what we're racing, right? We've had these, we've had the GT4s, the TCRs, the F4. Obviously, before that, we were in the Master Cup as well. That's where you will start, but didn't really participate in too many series in that one, at least not on the channel. And those, I gotta say, those MX-5s are definitely underrated as well. Obviously, the support series for IMSA, so we would have got their stuff together. There's a car ahead of us here who's gone off, unfortunately. That's Dwayne Lee, who's position after position. I was going to have to rejoin in last, I'm afraid.
Well, if you ain't first, you're last. Good deal.
Frustrating for him, but well. We'll happily take it. And keep it pushing here over towards the Ferrari 296. And it's a matter of getting on the throttle, which we're managing quite well. I can feel that the confidence is flowing here, obviously, after getting to experience the track quite a little bit here in the TCRs. And also putting in the hours of practice, of course. It is pretty awesome to see how that one's came through. Now, car stop to the right here. We also see that the Ferrari is coming really wide. So we do not only gain one, we also gain a lot of time here compared to the driver ahead of us. Now, top 9 as well, so we're pushing out. We've still got so long to go, so we should be able to make up a couple extra positions here as well. But I like how we're definitely getting involved more with the community. It's also to see now the sprint race is quite loose on the rules compared to the other race, where, for example, you have a lot more fuel stuffs that you got to keep in mind. Go once again, just nailing the corners one by one. We're taking our fastest lap so far, and the gap between us and Harley is see quite small still. But the drivers ahead of that are actually escaping by a fair margin here. It's actually a driver that is quite high up in the elos that we're actually trying to overtake, and that's a very aggressive dive bomb here. Oh man, doesn't make for a spectacular move, but I think it's also thanks to him really pushing it out there. And now we've gone a little bit too wide here, so we're going to be a little bit later on the throttle. We do gain the position in what was to be probably the most daring move I've seen on the channel so far. Whether it was intentionally or not, I'm not entirely certain, but we managed to make it stick, and sometimes you got to take those risks. Got to be honest, right? So wise man once said, or actually not a very wise man said, I turn now, good luck everybody else. And that's definitely what it felt like sometimes. It was a very, very deep dive bomb, but we have been dive bomb the fair share amount of times ourselves. Now it is just a matter of nailing everything we've got here. It's P8 for now here, but we're seeing the Ferrari come closer and closer. He's going to try and see if he can move up, and there's the contact between us.
It does when you're following someone, you're following the line.
So now we have the clearance again, because actually I had to back out a little bit more. That was definitely not intentional. It is just rubbing. Rubbing is part of racing. In the most classes, at least. There are a couple exceptions, of course, but you'll be okay in a couple series like this one. Luckily, we were able to keep it going here. We are all good now. Just a little bit over 11 minutes left here, and with the space, we're only going to be able to do a lap or 5 or 6, and then we are all out of time already. It goes incredibly quick. I guess that's just part of it, right? Obviously, we were expecting it at some point as well, that we were going to get into a little bit of a higher class where the risk would get higher, but the rewards will also get higher. Obviously, it is quite an intense field. We're in quite a lucky bunch of drivers we are to really have found each other and actually be able to race rather cleanly as well. And, you know, some drivers here around the 2K mark as well, which is obviously very different compared to the open lobbies that we sometimes participate in. So far we seem to be clear at both the front and the back. 1.5 seconds here to Harley Earnshaw. Kid Beal is 8 seconds up to us here. So we're having those gaps, and that's definitely made it really cool to watch as well. We were able to create those gaps, because that's definitely what it feels like. With those kind of cars, you can create gaps way easier. You can drive away really easy. Have some extra power compared to the others, which does have to do with it as well. just a little bit under 10 minutes remaining, meaning that we are halfway through the race already.
That seems to be being a bit strange.
It feels so incredibly tight sometimes around this track. It is just such a difficult track to manage. Let me see what makes it even more fun this time around as well is that we've got not only such a experienced field, we've also got a couple of drivers that we're very familiar with. Jamie Jarrett, for example, ahead of us here. I'm sure we've been battling those in previous races before, which has definitely led to some more, well, I don't want to say some better relationships, but definitely makes it more fun to racing against drivers that you know, because at some point you'll get to recognize like the driving styles as well, and from that point on, it makes it quite interesting because you got to defend a little bit differently. Some drivers way more aggressive on the entry, some of them are a little bit more calculated, some of them like to take bigger risks like we've seen in the previous race so far. I mean, that is a very clear example of how that went in the end. Overall, the same rules will still apply, of course. So it's all about finding the margin within that rules. Now, this time around, we do see that we've got quite a long race ahead of us here. So far, it has been quite a spectacular yet also kind of empty race as we're getting gaps ahead and behind now. We've got the Audi chasing us here of Robert Tan. Improvements here from the leader as well. It's always going to make it a little bit more difficult to catch up when they're so incredibly fast, but that's not what it's all about. I mean, we are kind of happy with the position we're in right now. At least I'd argue so. Now, we're also seeing some incidents happening elsewhere on the track, so it's definitely getting a little bit more chaotic now. Part of racing, right? It all happens. It's all part of the game. Now, every time I say game, it's really just a simulation of a game. The opinions are quite divided, but for me, most definitely, it is a simulation because all the professional drivers, they train on it as well, right? Which makes it even more awesome because you can get to race against them.
When you pass me, Kyle, let me know if he's damaged. Pretty sure there is a car's not right. So fucking
Keep
slow.
it going here, Kit Beale, still the driver ahead of Robert Tannes. Come into a bit of a fight here, and obviously that's beneficial to us here. That means that we've got a little bit more space for us here to try and drive away. Too bad the drivers ahead of us are just so much more quick at the moment. It's unfortunate, but well, it's all part of the game in the end.
Yeah, no, take you out as you pass though.
Oh no.
Dude comes out.
Like he did in the radical.
Does an excellent.
Now a little bit too wide here, but it's still within margin, so we're all good to go.
But yeah, go past. Go past really good. But is my car damaged?
Doesn't look like it, no.
It's fucking slow, eh?
Now, well, 5 minutes remaining. We're still stuck in the same position as we were, but we've got gaps ahead, but not behind. Dan has been fluctuating around that 1 second gap mark for a while now. pushing it once again through turn 1. We have looked for the absolute limit, and in turn 3 now. That's actually turn 3, believe it or not. There's an ever so slight kink between them. It's fun to see, though, that
I wish you could swap cars.
has made it so incredibly tense, and it's been so incredibly close the entire race around.
Yeah.
We've definitely found a great spot to be racing in. Now Robert Tan's gained on us.
What do you say when the servers are down for maintenance?
He's getting so much more close to us now in his Audi R8 GT3.
Down for scheduled maintenance. Always happens when we're at work though. Yeah.
Usually about 2 o'clock in the morning for me.
Now trying to push it, trying to get away, but Audi is not going to let us, obviously. Obviously this GT3 series being one of the most well-raced classes on iRacing, as everybody loves these cars. They're amazing to drive. You can choose plenty of cars as well, from a little bit more heavier like the BMW, or quite lightweight, and in that sense interesting. We've got all kinds of cars here in the server, and they've all made for very good racing, of course. And this time around as well, we see that it is just a matter of one small mistake. You can end up losing plenty of positions. Now, obviously, there is quite a bit of a gap here over towards the position 8 at this point. Here, Robert Tan has been chasing with us. David Chilton unfortunately fell behind. Ronald Allen is still leading the race here very easily.
I nearly straightened you back up.
Yeah. We have to put that fun. Oh yeah, I've got big flag.
I was surprised I didn't get a meatball flag from that hay.
Now it is just
Well, at least Dan was half right.
2 minutes remaining.
Oh,
Did I hit you, Jamie?
Now we do have a small gap, but
Oh,
it's
what?
not enough to really live safe.
Unsafe pedestrians as well.
Need to be honest here.
I think it's one.
We keep it pushing here. There's still plenty of opportunities, of course. And if we stay in this position, I think P8 will be great. We've got to make sure we nail the corners, though. We're almost going wide. There's 2 wheels in the sand for the Audi behind us here.
And it's
Now immediately you can see just what that does to the car. We're struggling to keep on the throttle here, but the gap will roughly remain the same. Now it's all out. There's just roughly a minute remaining here. It's also going to depend, of course, where Ronald Allen is currently driving. Just about to cross the line, so we will be able to get 2 laps in at a minimum here.
Lap times couldn't be any closer there, Ronald.
Yeah, hey. I'm stuck at about 1.4 apart for the last 2 or 3 laps.
Yeah. I got nothing for you though. I had nothing from Michael either.
Yeah, indeed, they have crossed the line. We're about to do so now as well. Time is going to run out eventually. So far, we've defended well.
Had a great entry
From
onto
our
the,
friend from
front
California, one of the few drivers here that's actually in a different
straight.
region than Australia or New Zealand or any of the islands that live.
This corner here
Close by.
was good for you too.
And what's interesting here as well is that Audi there definitely felt a lot faster here on the straights. You gotta be honest.
Very deceiving.
No, it's a horrible thing.
I lost connection.
And now the time's officially up here, so we are now in the final lap of the race.
Go fast.
It's just not a good spot to college, is it?
We've held on, and oh, there's the mistake then. There's the position lost. And then, oh, the driver behind us has hit the wall. And that's Cal Franson, I believe, who has gone off. Quite hard as well. Yeah, that is He's lucky to still keep it going. We've gone a little bit too wide here trying to gain the position. It is just Robert Tan now.
Actually been a bloody good race.
We try and keep it going here. The traction control really helping us out here. The time is going to run out eventually. Making our way into turn 10 here. There's only a couple turns remaining before we get to the end here. It's just so incredibly tough around here. This track is just so deadly. Now, weirdly enough, it does say that we've made it past the Audi, which is clearly not the case. So I don't know what that's all about. Looks like there's a very weird glitch going on there. But yeah, he's most definitely ahead of us. There it is. We make it through the final couple corners here. We're going to be finishing the race in our It says P8 now. Don't know what it's going to be like. Maybe that's because of Jamie Jarrett there. I'm not entirely certain. We're going to cross the line, at least behind the Audi for now. Definitely good positions coming through here. And in the end, I would say it's a pretty good race, especially considering the elo that we're at. And now we're, demoted to P9. Flags definitely a good result there for us. Sure, it is not maybe a podium or anything like it, but it's at least fast. And I want to thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you guys have enjoyed. And, well, I've only got one thing to say, and that is, see you guys later.